Oh, hello everybody, this is Dusty Circuit here, and I'm still alive and well. I've just been it's been a lot going on in kind of the recent month with, course I'm not really going to go too much into it because of course, anxiety is high, and I don't want to make it any worse for anybody, but of course, with this recent pandemic and everyone being inside, there's been much increased activity on across AC and ACO, and as a result, we've had it's been a lot more activity over on AC and ACO, though I only have really been playing on ACO or Autcraft Obsidian. And there's also been a lot of projects, community projects that we're doing now for anyone who's watched the Player of the Month for this month. It's currently the 8th of April when I'm recording this. And this was supposed to be kind of I would like this to be kind of like an epilogue for my, I don't know if that's really the right term, but just tended to I'd like to close off my history of all my builds on Autcraft, because I really apologize for leaving you guys on the cliffhanger of my wither farm getting me into trouble and getting closed down and everything, but I'm still alive and well as of today, and kind of even during the worst of that time, I had other things to keep my mind off of that and just kind of at least keep me in some kind of positive mindset. And of course, one of those things being, kind of my friendship with Snoowlight. And also another recent build that, well, not recent, but this would kind of be that's my 7th base that I built, and it's kind of my current base that I'm using right now. Oh, sorry about that. AC just had a bit of a crash there, but anyway, I actually kind of forgot what I was saying. Well, anyway, let's just do the base tour. Well, this particular base is currently, it's mostly built, but a lot of it hasn't been finished yet, and a lot of it, unfortunately, is subject to change, and a lot of these farms I'm probably going to have to change because of the hopper limit, and I built most of this this was a project that me and Snoowlight did together. And in fact, this base is it's not actually our protection, it's being shared with basically me and Snoowlight are sharing this protection with a player that I think they used to go by Mr. Diamond Cart, but now they're purple. But and Me and him aren't really that close, but like I don't know them. I don't really know him that well, but I do know that he is or was kind of a lot into redstone, and he lives in Australia. But other than that, I don't really know him that well. And in fact, I could even show off a little bit of his area. And we kind of just went off mostly this design for the rest of the build, but we just used different blocks. And I don't really know much of this. His builds still really remain, but this is where she's got like an auto sorting whole thing set up, and also auto smelting as well, and even I think this would be like to say you could make concrete. Like basically you'd sit here and place. You'd hold down both the left and the right click, and then it would place concrete and powder, then you'd mine it, and then it would give you concrete. And I also about this here, I built this because Snoowlight has actually been having his own he's like he likes to do so he's really passionate and actually can't wait to join ACO. And in fact, he even had his own countdown, in which I believe was, well, I guess because he didn't know how to do it any other way, he just had this, like all down through here, I think he had like a row of blocks, and I guess every day that went by, he'd add more onto it just to simulate the countdown. But of course, me being the redstone expert that I am, I actually built him a countdown of like an actual countdown display. And it's pretty much just works much the same as all these other, every other time players have built clocks or countdown timers in Minecraft. It's kind of using that same design. And in fact, this particular design that I built this with, like with the piston feed tapes, this actually dates all the way back to like I don't really remember the version, but back to like beta Minecraft, like probably beta 1.7, 1.8, or I think it was when pistons were added, but of course, this kind of design has managed to survive, like, 6-7 years of Minecraft updates, and it still works to this day. And in fact, I think the New Year's Eve countdown on ACO I built with the exact same design, and I may still actually be working in 1.15 too. But in my base on ACO, I had built like a countdown for like, I think my death and my death count, and actually how many days since my last death, and that's actually using a newer, like a more compact design that's actually using comparator logic. Me and Snoowlight, I guess we didn't really have that much of a... I guess our plan was actually to sort of copy, or not copy, but take inspiration from Sadie's base. And I think I might still have a home for that. This is Sadie's base right now. I'm in, and we more or less kind of went off the same design, but of course we used our own block palette and our own design for the walls. Like, we didn't exactly copy this, but and I think that this might have actually been changed since the last time I've seen it. But this is kind of what we went off of. And I'm really not sure what the best direction to take this build going into the future would be, because I have all these farms I built here, which I guess arguably are a little bit oversized for what purpose they serve. And like, I don't even have storage for this yet. Well, those chests are full. And over here I made this bamboo farm, but it's an auto bamboo farm that basically those are flying machines that would just basically sweep across back and forth, and that would harvest all the bamboo. And then there's hopper mine carts underneath which collect all the bamboo. This is just it's currently off, but this is how you turn the farm on and off. And I even built this little auto smelter that's using actually the same design that I built in my base on ACO, but of course it's smaller. And this is just kind of basically, I have this set up so it's actually, like, when the farm would be running, this basically items would be shot out into this water stream. And basically every minecart drop off, there's like a clock that will just shoots items out into the water stream. Then they go up this bubble elevator, and then they go into this. Basically, this is a big storage unit for the bamboo that loads this minecart hopper. It's basically this moves back and forth and loads the auto smelter with fuel. And this is where I'm kind of a little bit at a loss, because just that system alone, I haven't actually counted up all the hoppers it has, but I would say easily 100 plus. But well, not quite 200, but definitely over 100. And yeah, it's just, I mean, the thing is, I would like auto smelting and auto sorting and maybe a farm or two in the space, but see, the thing is, I'm just so accustomed to building as if there is no hopper limit, and in fact, well, I can just literally go build redstone to my heart's content, and as long as my frames per second that you can currently see in the upper left of my screen isn't too low, then I'm fine. But of course, when you're on a server, there's of course TPS that you have to worry about, and of course that can vary with the number of players on the server, and yeah. And I actually haven't really been that active on Autcraft anymore, and this kind of the reason for that is what's basically, since ACO isn't the wasteland it once was, and is now a thriving community that's still growing. I've like as of I think for the past year or two, I've decided that basically all my major builds and projects I would build over on ACO, and Autcraft I would join the Player of the Week events and the Wither fights, of course, whenever Blue is on, and also the events that Sadie does, and of course also the autism acceptance streams every year, and really, and it's just really I wouldn't really do that much else, and I just wouldn't really do that much of my own builds, just because I'm not putting the time in that I once did. And I mean, going forward, I'm willing to kind of go with that. And I mean, yes, I would be kind of leaving players over here behind that either can't play on ACO because they're too young, or they can't join for other reasons, whether it be money or they just prefer the environment that Autcraft provides, and the safety and security that Autcraft provides over a hard survival Minecraft server, which does its best to stay true to the survival game, and you don't get set homes and you lose your inventory when you die, and stuff like that. And I just really much enjoy ACO because rather than a server governed by mostly the staff, under behalf of all the players, ACO is essentially like the purest form of a democracy that can exist, where basically, well, there still is rules, of course, but rather than a lot of hard rules, we have ACO has mostly basically just a trust kind of system where there isn't any set limits on mobs or like how many animals you can have or how many hoppers you can have in your base or whatever, but it's, you know, don't be that guy to lag the server with farms or sorting systems or what have you. And that's just one of that's just kind of one of the reasons I play on ACO, and ever since Autcraft got the hopper limit, I've really well, after that Wither Farm incident, that really killed a lot of my desire to continue building farms and the mega projects that I always am used to doing. And of course the hopper limit was just kind of more nails in the coffin, and yeah. And a lot of my viewers are probably screaming this at me, or probably even getting ready to type getting their keyboards ready to spam my comments box about this. But, you know, you could also, you could look at the hopper limit as, well, like how much redstone can you fit inside of a certain area, or like, you know, just think inside the box kind of a thing. And I have actually done this with one farm so far. This here is a 5-spawner Vindicator farm that that I built with Mod Killer, and Mod Killer actually went spawner hunting. And he used the trick where you go into, basically you turn on subtitles, and it's usually whenever you see the minecart rules, that means you're near a mine shaft. And of course that allows you to find, usually that allows you to locate the abandoned mine shafts. And from there you can search for cave spider spawners. And I think it only probably took like a few hours of looking, and Modcure found, and sure enough, Modcure found 5 cave spider spawners, all close enough to each other that it's possible to turn it into a mob farm where you can have all the spawners active at once. And then I kind of built all the water canals to, of course, bring all the mobs into the center. Of course, the farm is turned off right now, but basically all these lamps would turn off, and that would allow the mobs to spawn. And they all flow down into this area, and then... And well, I guess it is possible to do this without using redstone, but just because I didn't really know of another solution, basically I made this, which is basically like a double extender type thing, and basically since that's also slime box, it just launches you right into the water elevator. It's like even if mobs fall right here, it still shoots them into the elevator. And the one kind of remarkable thing about this particular farm is me and Modkiller had set out to make an auto-sorting system for this farm that fits within the 50 hopper limit. And we have managed to fit in auto-sorting for the emeralds and banners, and shulker loading, or a shulker loader for the emeralds, which is kind of like basically it's this thing right in here. And this is supposed to be for heads, but we didn't really get any yet. And so it's basically all the items flow up through, they go from the killing area. As we follow this water stream, there's of course there's some more hoppers in here, but I have to take all the items from the farm, then put them into this dropper, and then they get shot out through this water stream into that elevator. Which then takes them all the way up to the top, and then they go through, and then they just go through this sorter that's for the emeralds, and down here where banners and heads get sorted, and then the rest of the items go into those chests, and then if there's any overflow, it goes into this cactus. And this entire farm, I believe, uses around 40 to 45 hoppers or so. And of course, me and Mod were very proud that we're able to get all of this into within hopper limit, but still have all this functionality built into our farm. Of course, all without breaking the hopper limit. So, maybe someday I am gonna revisit this particular build and of course redesign all the farms with that in mind. And I don't think this is going to be the last video, but I might do a couple other videos as I do. There are a couple of other farms that I'd like to show you that I haven't gotten to showing yet. And actually there is one more area to this base. That is, well, it's one of the newest things I've added to it. So, basically, like in the previous, kind of in the end of last year, because AC had like basically wither fights every day, kind of around Halloween, and I also had a lot of wither fights around, of course, November and around December and Christmas, and I think they have them now at least every player of the week. And basically, I had participated in so many wither fights that I've been running out of space in my ender chest to keep all the heads that I got. And I don't really consider myself that much of a head collector, but I still would like to have some kind of a place to store them and display them. So, we're now entering the headroom. This is really my first headroom on Autcraft. And this is how my head collection stands right now. And pretty much most of all these heads on this wall that you can see were I got from the wither fights. And of course I got admin heads all over here, and of course this is all mob heads. And some of these are shinies, but I think I only have probably 4 or 5 shinies and no more than one of each particular mob. And down here I meant this to be kind of like overflows, and so like when that wall gets full, I plan to, as I get more and more heads, I'm just gonna put them all down in this area, and they'll just end up with like this big cubes or piles of just random heads, of all types, all mixed together, and possibly even make like artwork out of it. And this wall over here, I'm not really using for that much, but for right now, I'm kind of using it to basically everything that I get from events. I'm kind of planning to display here. As you can see, those pardon the kick, but these are just kind of all my items that I've gotten from various events. And I've also tried to label them with what they are. And I think also I'm also planning on possibly expanding this room out this way, but I think at this end I'm probably only 30 blocks away from the edge of the protection, and we're unable to expand it much past that point because some other players have builds in that direction as well. And this video is really running on long now, but I'd like to kind of close it off with a little bit of, I'm going to tell you a little bit about my friendship with Snoowlight and kind of some of the experiences I've had. And so, me and Snow first met, I believe actually when I was working on that wither skeleton farm that I talked about in the previous episode. And of course we really talked to each other a lot, and even now I try to come on here every now and again just to talk to him, and he seems to be doing pretty well. And of course he's also spends a lot of time with Riley. Like, in fact, I see them both on, and creative a lot, up to who knows what, but I can tell they're having fun. And I'm kind of getting to know Snow. I've learned that he likes to play Minecraft, and he loves to play on Autcraft. But beside that, one of the first things I learned about him is he was getting into modded, and of course he talked about some of the mods that he would play, and of course I talked about the mod packs I play, and I mean, while this is technically against the rules, but I even offered to him if possibly me and him could get to know each other on Discord and maybe even find a server and we could play modded together. But of course, not only the rules are against me, but also Snow's parents are rather strict, and of course they're firm believers of online safety and also believers in basically any video game that with gun violence will influence kids to be violent, and in fact he cannot even play Fortnite for that reason. And I mean, my mom, this is not, of course, this is all over the place. Of course, parents are going to want to do what's best for their children, and they want to make sure they're safe, and this is especially if autism is in the equation. And though my mother was basically, she would, of course, when I was young, she really kind of paid attention to what I would be doing, but by the time that I joined Autcraft, she pretty much she kind of gained enough confidence that I'm never gonna get involved in anything I shouldn't, and of course I'm never gonna meet anyone that's up to malicious things, and in fact, joining Autcraft has to have been one of the best decisions of my life. And I mean, I'm kind of in a hard place in my life right now, and Autcraft has really helped me stay of a positive outlook, and just day to day, it provides me with friends and other people to help support me, and no matter what I'm going through in life, they've always do their best to help keep me happy, and just my heart goes out to you people that do that for me, especially Just Blue 333 and Autism Father and all my friends. You know you guys are on Autcraft and Autcraft Obsidian, and yeah, and but kind of despite, but just kind of due to Snow's parents being as strict as they are, he's essentially limited to playing on Autcraft and really not much else. And in fact, he's also allowed into like he owns a Switch, like a Nintendo Switch, and he plays that a lot. And then, and while Nintendo consoles have, they were kind of my first gateway into video games. Like the first video game I ever played in my life was a Nintendo GameCube. But, and I mean, I really kind of enjoyed, but like at the time, I just, of course, the internet was around, but my parents were just really, they really wanted to keep me safe, and they decided to just mostly keep me off the internet until they felt I was old enough, and that kind of happened when I was around 12 to 13 years old, and really for most of my life before then, I would just come in my sister's room and watch her play her video games, or she'd let me play the video games for a little while, and I actually did own a Game Boy Advance. I believe it was like the SP, and of course I even had my own GameCube. But the thing was, I didn't really have that many games, and like I only really owned one GameCube game outright, and that was Super Mario Sunshine. Actually, kind of an interesting story behind that. I believe it was one of my of course, when I was in, I think was 2nd through 3rd grade, I had this, of course, this aide that kind of stayed with me in class. So it was like a teacher's assistant, and of course she would do activities with me and kind of help me kind of pay attention in class, do my schoolwork and all that, and just kind of help me through the rigors of school, and she even was a big part of my support system, and of course I've known her by Miss Harris, but of course her real name is Tanitra Harris, and then one day on my birthday, her son decided that, I believe her son had that game, like the Super Mario Sunshine, and he decided to give it to me as a birthday gift, and of course at the time I was just floored, and I think actually by that time I did have the GameCube, or at least my personal one. Well, my mom actually went out to, I think it was a pawn shop, and she bought it, I think it was used, and I still actually have that. That console, but it's just in a box somewhere, and I just don't have it hooked up right now. And though that was really the only game for it I owned outright, and if I wanted to play any other game, I had to borrow it from my sister, and for the most part we got along, but if you take just imagine this, if you take like 8, 9-year-old boy with autism, or with Asperger's, and a 17-year-old teenage girl that doesn't have Asperger's, and make them live in the same house together, things kind of get interesting. I mean, it's like we would get along, but the thing was she was not very trusting of me, and any of her possessions she would just guard with her life, and if anything happened to it, she would just get really, she'd get kick me out of the room angry at me, and well, I mean, and by now that we're both adults, we get along much better. But no, that was just something I kind of had to deal with as a kid. And for my Game Boy Advance, I think I owned like maybe 3 or 4 games, but that was really it. And But then a few years later, I kind of discovered the whole online flash game stuff, and well, mostly because it's like I'd see kids in class, like we'd have like in our classrooms, at least then there was basically. It's like we'd have a table with like where we'd have a few computers like placed in a row that some of the kids would use, and of course one of their pastimes was going on there and playing like whatever online games they can find, and of course over time a lot of those sites eventually got firewalled or blocked or whatever, but at least back then, when a lot of sites weren't blocked, some kids were able to play some games over there, and I kind of watched them play those games, and then that eventually became a pastime of mine that I would do at home. And then a few years later, Minecraft happened, and then of course. Some kids at my school talk about Minecraft, and then my sister starts playing Minecraft, and then later on, I get Minecraft. I believe it was on my mom's computer, and I played it whenever she wasn't using the computer, and eventually she bought a computer for myself so I could play Minecraft all by myself, and whenever I wanted to, and well, here we are now. Yeah, and I didn't really mean to ramble that much in this video, but I guess sometimes I just go on tangents, but anyway, and kind of going back to me and Snoowlight, I'm mostly just kind of coming on just to say hi to him, and his next birthday, he's going to be turning 15, and he's basically going to log on to ACO probably on his birthday. So, and I bet probably Riley or a few other players are probably going to put on some big event for him as well. Like we're probably going to do a birthday build, and he's probably going to sign on to a birthday build, and it's going to be epic. And of course, I can't wait to help out with that when that time comes around. Rather than continue to ramble on, I'm gonna close off this video here, and just to say I hope you guys have kind of enjoyed this admittedly rambly, but hopefully at least somewhat interesting episode, and not gonna be the last episode in the series, but probably the next or the next episode after that will be the last. And thank you for watching this video. Remember to rate, comment, like, and subscribe. And this is Dusty Circuit signing off. Bye.